Foam printing is a cheap, fast, and easy way to do printmaking, and you can easily do it at home. That's why I wanted to show you this technique. You may have done this before. One way you can print it is with markers. And here's a foam plate that I made earlier, and then here's the resulting print. You'll notice that it is a mirror image when you print it, so keep that in mind as you're planning out your designs, that it's going to be flipped. If you have any wording or anything like that, it will be backwards if you print it. So you want to make sure that you have it backwards on your plate if you want to have words, unless you want it backwards, which I guess that could be a possibility. So this is by far probably my best print, but I want to show you some of the other examples. This definitely is kind of a process where you have to figure out the right amount of moisture while you're printing, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in another video where I show you how to print. But you know, this is an example of a print that maybe had a little bit too much moisture, and you can see that some of the ink blurred together. And then here's an example of a print that had not enough moisture, and so then it was hard for the paper to pick up the ink. And then these are kind of in various states. But this is actually a ghost print, and a ghost print is when you print the plate again after you've printed it. Actually, this is a ghost print and this is a ghost print. So I printed this one. This one would have been pretty good had my paper been a little bit more moist right here. But my plate still had some ink on it, so I printed this ghost and then I printed this ghost. And this one had a lot of moisture, so it ended up really blurring and mixing together and bleeding everywhere. And this one was okay, but it doesn't have a whole lot of ink because it was after I had printed my plate several times. So when you start foam printing, you do have a rather large sheet of foam, but start small. Start small with something easy, like a little doodle that you like to do, where it's pretty simple line work and the lines are spaced out pretty far. And then after you've done that and printed it, then you can try to go a little bit bigger so that you just know what the process is. It's a lot easier to start small than to work really big and then have to figure out how to print this really big thing. So start small and then work your way up to something bigger. I'm going to show you how to transfer an image onto the foam plate. So I have this drawing that I made. I just was looking through this field guide to birds of North America, and I really like the way that a titmouse looks, so I just drew my little titmouse. You want to make sure you don't have too many details, keep it pretty simple, because you can't get those fine details in a foam print. You have to have space in between the lines. So simplify your image so that your plate will print well. Okay, so my scrap has quite a few holes, so I'm just going to try to find a spot where this fits right here. And I'm going to secure this with a piece of tape so it doesn't move around while I'm transferring it. Okay, to transfer you're going to need a ballpoint pen. You can transfer with a pencil, but a pen, the ball rolls much more smoothly, so this is a great tool to use while you're transferring. Okay, so to transfer the print, all you have to do is just trace on your lines. And when you're tracing, you want to make sure that you're applying a firm pressure. I'm going to peel this up so you can see it really quick. A firm pressure so that you're actually engraving the foam plate. And another good thing about Ballpoint pen is if you drew in pencil and you're tracing in pen, you can see which lines you've already traced. Okay, so now I'm ready to cut this out. When I'm cutting, I'm going to leave a little bit of a bubble all the way around my image because if you cut right on the line, then you won't be able to see the line that you drew. So when we print this, the ink's going to sit on the highest, the raised layer, and it's not going to go into the engraved parts. So we're going to print this as a relief print. So we're printing the part that sticks up the farthest. So because of that, our line work is not going to print, and you want it to show, so you have to make a little bit of a bubble around what you drew in order for your line work to show. I like to cut my foam prints in the shape of the object I drew, but you could certainly use a different shape if you wanted to just cut out a rectangle or an oval or something like that. That works the same. Okay, so the cool thing about this foam that we have is it has an adhesive backing, and so we can just stick it onto a block and collage different pieces on to make our print, because it just has like a sticker on the back. So what I can do next is I can add some leaves. And you can just stick those on. And add some details. Now remember, you want to keep it kind of simple. All right, now I'm ready to print. I'm just going to trim off this extra little bit of the plate. Here's my finished print, printed with marker.